Hey guys, today I want to talk about technology causes just as many problems as it solves sometimes. And it really, really does. As technology goes forward, I find that it's causing a lot of catches for expats over here because they form new technology and it catches you on this or it starts causing you problems on that. And I want to discuss this today in today's video, but before I start, I was yesterday we did the day before yesterday we did the brokerage thing about my brokerage account being closed, and one of the things I mentioned there was about getting out of taxes. I was referring to state taxes because if you're a resident in the Philippines, you do not have to pay state taxes if you're a resident over here and you live here for so many days per year. In some states, there are a couple of states I believe that if you own a home there, you do have to pay taxes there, and I'm not sure which states those are. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because a lot of guys thought I was talking about getting out of federal taxes. There's no getting out of federal taxes if you have a brokerage account. Okay, so I want to make that crystal clear. And I do pay taxes both in the Philippines and in the US. Okay, so I have both. But anyway, guys, I want to talk today about how problems can be caused sometimes by tech. A lot of people think that when they use VPNs, that's going to solve all this. It's the end all thing. It solves all your problems and everything's going to be done. What happens is sometimes it causes problems because the company sees that you're on a VPN. I was using a VPN one time, and then all of a sudden, I started noticing security things coming up because it wasn't my normal address that I used, my normal IP address. So what happened was it started asking me all these questions and it caused other problems. Okay, so then, these are the problems that I usually tell people you're going to run into as an expat over here. You run into issues all the time. I noticed that banks and stuff also are starting to pick up on things a lot more. They're starting to hit you more. Credit cards also, when you try to open up your online account, it'll notice that your IP address is you're using a VPN or whatever, and it starts giving you hassles. It starts asking you questions. But when you shut that off, it'll work fine. But it's also telling them where you are, and you're in the Philippines, and they may shut down a credit card account or whatever. They may start shutting things down on you. That's the scary part. And it's part of the price that we pay for our freedom here in the Philippines is having those issues. And as much as we try to help you as vloggers, all of us vloggers, we try to give you as much information as we can. A lot of guys talk about the VPN saving you, having a US address for your brokerage account or whatever. There's even more to it than that. Here's some of the problems that will arise when you're over here. Western Union, Remitly, all these other different transfer companies that transfer money for you. Sometimes they start asking you too many questions. Like they'll put a hold on your money or something like that, and they'll ask for 2 bank statements. They'll ask for your passport. They'll ask who is this person that you're sending your money to, and it's usually your girlfriend or whatever. And it's okay for them to ask that, but sometimes it starts getting a little too much. It gets uncomfortable because you're giving all this information to a third party, and I don't like to give that much information to a third party. Now, I've had a lot of luck with Western Union. They did shut me down, on my account for a while. I was wondering why they wouldn't answer it when I called them. I called them like 2 or 3 times, and finally I says, I'm done with Western Union. Well, they sent me a thing through the mail, email, and it was a questionnaire. So I answered the questionnaire, and I answered it quite honestly. I was very honest about it. And I told them, I says, I was your #1 best customer. And I have been for the past 4 years, over 4 years. I've been their 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And I was their #1 best customer probably, sending things all the time, both to myself and my girlfriend and to other people. And what happened was, what they did was they held my account. They wouldn't reopen it. But after I filled out the questionnaire, they reopened my account. So they must have read the thing, and I wrote in there all the reasons why I will never go back to them. But I ended up going back to them because Remitly shut me off. And the only reason I went back to them was because I went to check to see if it was working again, to see if maybe it was just a temporary hold or whatever. And I found out that it was totally open. And I actually sent a large amount of money, which actually was really, really good. It helped me out a lot, And anyway, I want to talk about that because these companies are getting more rules and regulations put on them, which is causing more problems for us. One of the things is that the Philippines is what's considered what is called a gray country. It used to be a black country because of money laundering, money going to terrorists, things like that, drug money, all types of stuff. And the Philippines has been working on that and trying to fix that so they can get out of that. But as they try to resolve that, it causes more issues for us, because what happens is they implement more safety nets to catch these people, and sometimes they think it's us as expats that are laundering money or whatever, and we're not. So a lot of times we get caught in the crossfire of all this stuff, and what happens is it causes messes for us. Now, this is a part of living in the Philippines. It really is. It's a part of what we put up with over here for the price of our freedom over here, like I said. And living here definitely has its good points and its bad points. And we're always going to have these issues no matter what in the Philippines. They're always going to arise. You're always going to have brokerage account issues. You're always going to have Remitly account, banking issues. Banking issues are a big issue over here. One way to get around the banking issue, because a lot of banks will not work with people that are residing outside the U.S. Be aware of that, and don't think that VPNs are always going to save you. They're not. The thing that's going to save you on banking, if you're going to have money come over, if you want to get money to come over here, open up a State Department Federal Credit Union. State Department Federal Credit Union will save you the aggravation, or a credit union in general. Credit unions run under different banking rules than banks. So that's going to save you a lot of aggravation right there. State Department Federal Credit Union, you have to pay $70 to join some sort of organization or something like that to join. And then you're good. If you have Navy Federal Credit Union, or you have any of these other credit unions, they're all good, okay? But you still should have an American address, okay? You still need to have an American address back there, whether it be your sister, your brother, or something. You should have an American address for that account. Just because the rules may change in the future. Now, currently, some banks, when they find out that you reside outside of the U.S., they shut you down, and it makes it really, really hard for us over here, because you have to in some cases, to transfer money over here, you have to open up a dollar account at BDO, and then they will transfer money over here. Now, for me, I'm lucky because of the fact that I'm under the retirement visa over here. I don't pay taxes on my pensions over here, but I do pay taxes on them back home. Okay, and also, there's the state tax issue. A lot of people think that if they pay state taxes on their brokerage account, that's going to stop that company from closing your account. It will not stop it. So you're just throwing your money away, because if you live over here full time, okay, and you live over here 365 days a year, or you just go back for like a week or two each year, or a month or whatever, you're still a resident over here more than you are over there. If you're living outside the country that much, you shouldn't be paying state taxes and throwing that money away. You just shouldn't. And also, sometimes even your federal taxes can change, and you may want to take that up with an expat tax attorney, or H&R Block Expat. They also have an expat section of H&R Block that takes care of expats. H&R Block there's another issue all by itself. I had my taxes done by H&R Block this year, okay, and I've had a lot of issues this year that I've been dealing with, and sometimes it's just things that happen, or people that screw up or whatever. I had somebody do my taxes back home, and what happened was, they put down that I did not receive my stimulus. So it looked like I had an extra $1,500, and I only had to pay a small amount in taxes, when actually I had to pay like $1,600 in taxes. Okay, so what happened was, the IRS caught that, because they knew that I got my stimulus, and the H&R Block had asked me twice, and I told them both times that I did receive my stimulus, but they put down that I didn't. Okay, that I did not. So it ended up that I had to pay that money to the IRS, okay, because of a mistake from H&R Block. Now, fortunately, because it is a tax that I did owe, and they made the mistake, they're not going to cover it, even though I had that peace of mind type of guarantee and stuff like that. It doesn't cover that type of thing. So that was one mistake that I had. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times when we're talking, I want to get back to the Remitly and transfer stuff now for a second here, because this is important. a lot of times when you're talking to Remitly or you're talking to Western Union, you're actually talking to somebody in the Philippines. So when you're talking to these people, let them know that you're in the Philippines and tell them you're trying to do things if they put your account on hold or whatever. A lot of the times I find that the people, because they're in the Philippines and they realize you're in the Philippines, they'll work with you a little bit better and they'll free up your money. I've had that happen several times. They started asking me a few questions and they said, "Sir, don't worry about it. We'll help you." I also had a guy in Pakistan one time. He was helping me. I didn't get much help off of him, but then another guy in Pakistan that I got actually helped me a lot with Western Union. Okay, and I've had a lot of luck, more luck with Western Union than I have with Remitly, because Remitly just closed my account totally. Not sure why, but they wanted way too much information for me to be given out to somebody, especially when they're asking for 2 bank statements, and they're also asking for other types of things like, like information on my girlfriend and stuff like that. Personally, I don't think that's any of their business. I'm a big boy. I know who I want to give my money to, and the other thing is that I live here with her, so I thought that was kind of strange. But I did want to talk about this today, guys, and just to be crystal clear here, I want to make sure that when you come here, that you understand that these things will be a part of your daily life. Every year you will run into stuff like this. This year in particular has been a bad year for me, and I'm a person that studies this stuff and gets deep into it. And when I opened that brokerage account, I want to say this here, they specifically told me that I could have an account in the Philippines. And I told them, I says, even if I put down that I'm living there, I'm okay. Yes. I says, okay, because I'm gonna have a mailing address in Maine, and I'm gonna have my address in the Philippines. You're not gonna close my account. They let it go for 4 years, more than 4 years. So that tells you something right there. That for 4 years they let it roll. But anyway, guys, be careful. And make sure you look into this stuff. No vlogger in the world, let me just say this, no vlogger in the world here is going to save you all this aggravation, because all the vloggers here still have problems. We just try to alleviate some of those problems for you. Don't think that the VPN is going to be the answer, because they pick up on the VPNs after a while. All this stuff, you think you can get around things and you can beat your way around this stuff. It doesn't always work. Eventually they'll catch up with you. The best way to get a brokerage account over here is to talk to the company first. But the problem is, like I said, sometimes you're going to get somebody from outside the U.S. and they don't really know themselves. And they're going to tell you, yeah, open up an account, and then they'll close the account on you. There was a guy that made a comment in the comments the other day, and he said that he had an account with Fidelity. They actually froze his account and kept it. Now, I don't want anybody to have that happen to them. So be extra careful and make sure that you talk to these people about this stuff and that doesn't happen to you. So either you need to get an international brokerage account, which is possible to get. You can do it around the world, or you can open up an account in the Philippines. That's another way of doing it, and you can pay taxes in the Philippines on that money or whatever, if you have to pay taxes on it. And also, there are some companies that will let you do business in the Philippines, but you got to seek them out and find them and do your due diligence on this. And not just call up and talk to one person. Call 3 or 4 people there at the company and ask all 4 of them, and see if you get different answers or the same answer. Because sometimes you're going to get different answers. If you start getting different answers, it's time to look for a different company. Because some of these people, they don't know their job. They're new or whatever, or they live outside the country. They're answering the phones from some, telephone place like some of these places in the Philippines or whatever, or Pakistan or whatever, and they're doing the answering for these brokerage firms or whatever. So be careful, be mindful of this stuff. Sometimes remember this, sometimes the tech that's supposed to be saving us problems is actually causing us more problems. God bless, guys. Take care.